and she started shouting at me and saying, "How is it that you are seeing the patient here and you don't have the patient history card here? How are you seeing the patient?" Please note, guys, please note that the patient is still sitting right there. Right there, so this is me, this is the dentist, and then this is the patient. The patient is right there, and this lady is shouting at me on top of her lungs. Hi guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. So today I will be telling you a little story time. As you can see by the title, I quit my very first job as a dental hygienist after only 2 days, more like a day and a half, but you get the point. Without further ado, I'm going to get started. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe so you can stay tuned with all the content that I have planned for you. So let's get started. So it was around May of 2019. It was the beginning of my last semester at dental school, and I decided to send out some applications from early so that I could secure a job, or that a job would be ready for me as soon as I finished school. So I got only one response, but I was super excited either way. So we set up an interview time and date, and I was ready. So I got to the interview and I was there, as I said, half an hour early, and yeah, I was there waiting. So the receptionist told me that the dentist was running a little late, so I had to wait time, but I didn't really pay this any mind because I was super excited about securing my first job. I was very confident. So after waiting for maybe 2.5 hours, the dentist finally comes. When she comes, she has a patient to see in front of me. So she went to see the patient, and I was there waiting for maybe another hour. The first red flag, right? So I was there waiting for maybe almost 4 hours. It's around after 12, after 1 now. And finally get to go in with this dentist, and the interview begins. It's going great, and then she says to me, "Okay, so where are your CXC certificate?" I was like, "What do you mean?" So for those who don't know, if you're not from the Caribbean, CXC is the examination that you do to matriculate into tertiary education. So it would be like an SAT, I would believe, something similar to that. And I didn't have my CXC certificate with me again because it's CXC, you get me? I could not get into the dental hygiene program if I did not have my CXCs, and I had brought along my acceptance letter, my transcript, all of that from dental hygiene school to show that I was enrolled and that I was doing well. I didn't see the point of bringing my CXC certificate, right? Because it wasn't important. So I told her that I did not have my CXC certificate with me because I didn't think that she would want to see it. And she basically scolded me. She reprimanded me and said, hey, you are so unprepared for this. You should have known that you needed it. And it started going downhill from there. And I was like, okay, solution. Let's not focus on the problem. Let's focus on the solution. I didn't live too far from where the interview was going on. So I was like, hey, okay, I don't live too far. I can go and get it and come back. Is that okay? And she was like, sure, let's go, because, you should have had it and all that. So I go home, I get my CXC certificate. I'm very, very annoyed at this point because, again, the way how she reacted to me not having it and the point that she needed it, yeah, it was just very off with me. So I went home, got the certificate, and I went back, and the rest of the interview went pretty well. We made a work schedule around my school schedule, and I forgot about that bad part. I was super excited because I got my first job, or I secured my first job. I wasn't expecting to start working that soon. So fast forward now to day one. I think it was a Saturday, my first day of work. So the Saturday after the interview, I went into work and I did some training with the dental assistant who was there. And just some orientation. She showed me where everything was. She showed me my room, where all the first day stuff you usually would do. So everything was set, and I was now waiting on my first patient to come in. So I was there and I was scrolling through my phone, just doing stuff. And she came in and she was like, "Why are you on your phone?" So I was like, "What? do you mean why I'm yeah, so she's like, you shouldn't be on your phone. It's your first day. You should find something to do. And I'm like, find what to do? And I told her that everything was done. My trays were set. The room was clean. I had read through my patient file, who was coming in. Everything was done. I know where everything for me was because I did orientation early on in the day, and she was like, basically, that this is a problem with my generation because all we like to do is sit on our phones, and that's why, yeah, she started going off basically on me using my phone and how much of a problem it was. So, red flag number two. So, when she finished, she went back to her patient, and I put my phone away since it was such a big deal, and I waited on my first patient. So my first patient comes in. It was a child, and it went pretty well. It was my very first patient that I saw outside of the dental clinic. So I was very, very, very excited. So apparently in that office, they give all their patients fluoride. Dental assistant who had set my trays earlier on in the day, she had put the fluoride on the tray. So I used only like maybe half or even maybe a quarter. I just had very little of the amount that she put on the tray. So after the patient left, I called the dental assistant and I said to her that, hey, I don't need that much fluoride. So maybe in the future you can pour less so we can conserve, so we can save on materials. I don't use that much, so you don't need to pour that much. And she was like, yeah, sure, of course, no problem. Simple fix. So the second patient came and the dental assistant gave me the tray with the same amount of fluoride on it after I spoke to her about the fluoride issue. Anyways, I saw the patient as normal and I used the fluoride, and the dentist comes in now and she's like, you don't need that much fluoride. Why are you using that much fluoride? You're wasting my fluoride. So I said to her that, hey, I don't use that much fluoride, but the dental assistant set the tray and I did express to her that I don't use that much. So therefore, she doesn't need to share that much. I did have the conversation with her and she's like, oh, okay. She leaves the room. So later on in the day, regarding this fluoride matter, she calls me to her office and she's like, she spoke with the dental assistant and the dental assistant said that she didn't share the fluoride that was on the tray. So if it wasn't the dental assistant, and if it wasn't herself, it must have been me. So I was like, what? She's basically now accusing me of lying to her and saying that I was the one to put the fluoride on the trays. I was looking at her like, well, I didn't do it, so I don't know who did it. I told you what happened. And she was like, oh, okay. And that was the end of the conversation. It was so weird, but red flag number, what is this? Three? I was getting really annoyed at this point, guys. The next thing, there's so many things going on in this one day. It's so crazy. Next thing, a patient comes in with heavy calculus. And she is going to tell me that I can only keep the water level on the ultrasonic scaler at 1. So for those who don't know, the ultrasonic scaler is the instrument that we use to clean the teeth. And it has different power levels and it has different water levels. It can turn it up or down. When I have a patient with gingivitis or with severe buildup, I have to turn the water level up because there's normally a lot of bleeding and the water helps with visibility. And it also helps to cool down the instrument. It has like heavy calculus buildup, and I turn the water level up because I need to see what I'm doing. Because she comes in, she comes in throughout the day when I'm seeing my patients, and she looks and she comes out. And after I finish a patient, she turns to me and says that I am running up her water bill. So I need to turn down the water level on the scaler. I am running up her water bill. I saw barely 3 patients for the day. And please note, the water that is coming out of the ultrasonic scaler, it's such a small amount, guys. It's not a lot. And she basically told me that I am here on my first day running up her water bill, her utility bills. I didn't say anything. I said, okay. All right. Noted. Red flag number, what are we? 4 or 5? Okay. So after seeing another patient throughout the day, we had a work corner, like a staff corner. It wasn't a room. It was like a corner at the back of the office. with a stool and like a shelf to put your bags. So I go around there, waiting on my last patient for the day, and I'm using my phone because again, I have a business, I have things to do on my phone during my free time. It's my free time, you know, so I am on my phone. She comes around, it's like the lady looking for me. She looks for me, she comes around and she sees me on my phone again. And she decides to throw a fit and give me a lecture about young people and them phone, and you know how obsessed we are with our phones, and what am I sitting on my phone doing? I should find something to do. So at that point, I guess I was fed up already because so many things have happened in this one day. And this lady come back to me about this phone argument, and I'm literally doing what I'm being paid to do. Seeing patients, and I have a break in between my patients. It's my break. I'm entitled to my break. What does this lady want from me? And she's basically like, you should put down your phone and you should find something to do. You should. So I'm like, is this high school? Is this primary school? What is going on? So before, when she finishes her whole lecture, because I blocked her out completely, she's saying, you know, I need to get up and go find something to do, and I need to put my phone in my bag. She told me not to put it in my pocket. I should put it in my bag and leave it at the back. So I was like, what? So anyways, I told her, okay, fine. I put the phone in my pocket and I walked off and went back to the front of the office because again, this is not primary school. You're not my mother. What? Yeah, at this point, I was really deciding that maybe this place is not for me. But you know, I'm trying to stay open-minded and just say, you know, no workplace is perfect. I'm just stay calm and level-headed and just ignore these red flags. Again, well, I don't even know what red flag number what now. 6? I've lost count. So my last patient comes in for the day and she had an examination to do on the patient. So she came into the exam on the patient and she used her gloves on the patient and she put it down on my tray. She turned to me and says that I should not take out a new pair of gloves. I should use the same pair of gloves that she just took off and see my patient. So I said, what do you mean? What do you mean I should? She said that we need to save money, conserve, so we should not be using too many gloves. This lady wears small gloves, 1. I wear medium. She wants me to share gloves with her. I don't know where her hands are coming from. I don't know what she have on her hands. I'm not saying she have anything on her hands, guys, but it's not hygienic, right? It's not a part of our infection control protocol to be sharing gloves. So what do you mean I should share gloves? So anyways, I did not listen to her. When she walked out of the room, I threw the gloves away and I took a new pair because I'm not doing that. But yeah, that was basically it for the first day. I was very upset. I was very annoyed because I was shouted at. I was accused of lying and accused of running up her water bill. I was very, very, very annoyed. I left and I went home and I called everybody on God's land and told them what happened from my mother, my father, everyone, and told them what happened. And most persons were saying, hey, you know, don't go back because she is very disrespectful and you know, that's not a good work environment. It's very toxic. She's very abrasive. She's maybe honestly crazy. Yeah. So I was almost sure that I did not want to go back. I was like, you know what, maybe I'm going to call or just go in the next day and tell them that, hey, I'm not going back. So I have a good family friend. He is like a mentor to me. He's also a dentist. I explained to him what happened and he told me to, or he advised me to go back, and before the day starts I could just talk to the dentist, let her know what I was not comfortable with and what I did not like about my first day and experience, and hopefully she would change how she operated or be a bit more mindful of the things that she said. And if it works out, then you know I can continue to work there and stuff. So I said, okay, fine, I'll do that. But I went in back the second day, and I put my bag down and asked if I could speak with her. She's like, sure. So I went and I explained to her that I didn't appreciate how she spoke with me at times because, you know, it came off a bit rough, a bit disrespectful. And I also told her that I was not comfortable with us sharing the same gloves, and that's not something that I would continue or I would do. I'm not a fan of that. I won't be doing that. I was not trained like that. There was something else that happened on the first day. So there's a certain aspect or a certain procedure that should be done every time you see a patient and they do not do it. And I was trained to do it. I didn't feel comfortable not doing it, if you get what I'm trying to say. I don't want to go into too much detail about this specific thing, but I also expressed to her that, hey, if I'm going to be seeing patient, that procedure needs to be done. I cannot work and not do it. And yeah, basically I was very honest and I was very respectful as well about the things that I was concerned about, and also explained how offended I was that she also accused me of lying. So after I finished talking and explaining all this, she turns to me and she basically starts raising her voice and cussing again about how I'm basically saying that she does not know how to run her dental practice because I am barely out of school and I all of a sudden know how to run a practice, and she has had her practice for how many years and I don't know any. Yeah, she basically went off. She took offense to the things that I said, and yeah, at that point in time I knew that I was not going to go back the office. After that day I was going to finish up the day, but I was not going to go back after that day because I came to you and I expressed everything in a very respectful manner, and your response is basically shouting at me and saying that I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I decided then and there that I would not be going back. I went through my day, you know, everything was normal. I barely interacted with her. And I had a patient around, let's call it around 1 o'clock. So I collect the patient note card or the patient history card from the receptionist, and I go in and I set up for the patient and go through the card, all that we're supposed to do, and I get the patient seated and I start the procedure. So the receptionist came back and got the card from me for something insurance related. So the dentist now comes in for the exam, the patient exam, and she comes in and she can't find the card, the patient card, right, with the patient history and stuff, and she started shouting at me and saying, how is it that you are seeing the patient here and you don't have the patient history card here? How are you seeing the patient? Please note, guys, please note that the patient is still sitting right there. So this is me, this is the dentist, and then this is the patient. The patient is right there, and this lady is shouting at me on top of her lungs. My mother don't shout at me, and my father don't shout at me. So why is this lady shouting at me in front of the patient? I got so, you guys, from day one, from interview day, this lady has been shouting at me for no reason whatsoever. I am tired and I am fed up. And she was there going off and saying, you know, what kind of clinician and what type of practitioner am I to have a patient here and I don't know anything about the patient history. Bear in mind, you know, I went through the patient history card and know everything about the patient already. It's just that the receptionist came for the card to do something at the front desk to bring it back, and she didn't bring it back as yet. So this dentist is shouting at me and not giving me a chance to explain what. Every time I open my mouth, she cut me off and she continues screaming at me. So I get so upset. I was going to tell her my mind, but I'm not going to do it in front of my patient because I was not trained, right, to show this type of behavior in front of patients. So I said, not in front of the patient. Let's talk afterwards. And I said this in a very peppy, you know, very professional voice because she's over there wilding, and I said that to her, and I kid you guys, she kept shouting and she got even louder. And I said to her again, not in front of the patient, right? Because I'm now fed up, you know. I'm very fed up because here what? You are shouting at me and reprimanding me in front of this patient, and you are now making it seem that I'm incompetent. I'm not trained or knowledgeable enough to see this patient. If I were that patient, after all of that, I would not want me like in my mouth. I would not want that girl in my mouth, because you're being shouted at. Clearly, you don't know what you're doing, so you should not be in my mouth. That's how I would think as a patient. So me now, I am very upset for you to be standing there, not even giving me a chance to explain what had just happened. So yeah, I started ignoring her until she finished shouting, and I made my decision. So I'm not going to wait until the end of this day. I'm going to leave after this. So she comes out, she does the exam. Patient turns to me and she said, I am so sorry about that. So imagine the patient is apologizing to me for the. So anyways, I finished the patient and I clean the room up nicely, put everything where it's supposed to be. I go to the back, I get my bag, and I find the dentist. And I let her know, hello, you know, this work environment is not for me. The disrespect is not for me, right? I won't be coming back after today. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come here and, you know, work for the day and a half, but I will not be coming back. The check, you know, you can let me know when my check is ready. You have my contact, you have my email, you have it all. Let me know when my check is ready. And I take my bag up, I already have my bag on, and I walk through that door. So that is basically what happened. So, you know, I believe that you have to give respect to get respect. And I did not go in there disrespecting anyone. I went in there very optimistic, very respectful, I was willing to cooperate and adjust to whatever was there. You understand? And I even went back. I didn't have to go back the second day, and I could have stayed home, you know. I went in the second day and I expressed my concerns, and she did not. Yeah, that is not my place. And yeah, and that is basically what happened with my very first job as a dental hygienist. I told everyone that story, all of my classmates, because it was truly a horror story. Like, what? I still cannot believe that many things happened in such a short space of time. But yeah, it's an experience, and we learn from experiences. So that is basically it for today's video, today's story time. I really hope I kept you guys entertained. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Before we go, you know, before you click off, remember to give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe and turn on post notifications. Definitely comment below and let me know which other videos you guys would like to see from me. I would love to hear, and until next time, stay safe and stay home. Bye.